Hi guys, so I decided to make a video. I have a couple of videos that are coming up that I'm going to be posting. Today's video is going to be a sit down. Let me just quickly say any donations, any GoFundMes, anything will be linked down below. If you don't know me, I do have a couple other videos where I'm updating you as far as everything that's going. Unfortunately, like none of those videos are just going to be like happy. Like these aren't really like happy videos. I'm just kind of trying to spread what I have and trying to reach more people and see if I can make friends out of this. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just watch the last couple videos for any updates. Really, I'm trying to get monetized by YouTube so that I can get paid by YouTube and make this a thing for me. So please like, subscribe, and watch. My last video where I dropped off was, or I left off was, I'd gotten an MRI and a biopsy done and I was waiting for the results from that. Okay, so briefly, I have a large amount of masses in this side of the breast, which is where I originally found the lump. And on the other side, they found something else. Looks like the lymph nodes at this point are clear. But the doctor did tell me that we would have to find out during the surgery afterwards, we'd find out like if it was clear. Also, like, someone is cutting their grass or something, so that's why that weird sound is going on. We don't know how far it's spread so far. Surgery, what kind of surgery? I was really preparing myself for a mastectomy, and it looks like for the left breast we will be having a mastectomy, and then for the right breast, so that the one that had like one suspicious thing, like it doesn't look like it was basically benign, right? What type of cancer do I have? Originally, like the first doctor that I went to go see that like basically like didn't really misdiagnose me, but didn't do the didn't do it properly. Basically, like he just went in straight for a biopsy. Yeah, he actually did misdiagnose me. I have a video on that too. He just tried to go in straight for a biopsy, which is like didn't even test it or whatever. Their pathologist had concluded my thing to be DCIS. We were still waiting on that feedback. So once a doctor called me, she told me it is DCIS. Not sure of all of the masses that you have all over the suspicious area. They don't know what it is, and you know the recommended thing to do is get a mastectomy in that whole section. We're not sure if you need radiation. Doesn't look like at this point that you would need. Doesn't look like you would need chemotherapy at this point, depending on the surgery, which is actually April 19th, which I'm quite nervous about. Yeah, it's just like how would the implants look, and then also just like the expanders. Like I feel like doctors, like if you're going through this, doctors don't really tell you every nitty-gritty thing. So if you don't know, doctors put in is it called implants? I'll put the name on the screen because I forgot what it is. Expanders. Doctors put expanders after that you get a mastectomy on that area so that, you know, it'll basically like hold the shape for the implants, right, in that area after they take off everything. And then after treatment, after surgery, like after treatment, basically after radiation, like say chemotherapy, right, if that's an option for you, they will go in and put in the, also I'm not a doctor, so I don't know all the details. Like every breast cancer is different, so ask your doctor. They'll put in the implant after a few months. And if you don't, like, this is what doctors, like, they don't tell you, like they just, oh yeah, you're gonna have a, you know, okay, so we put this on you, and then after blah blah blah, like, and then that basically was a pocket, blah blah blah. But they don't tell you that like they're sewing this on, like they sew that expander on, and it's hard. It doesn't feel like obviously it doesn't feel like a breast. And to inflate it, like they basically put a needle in there, and that's how it inflates, to stretch out that skin to make sure it still stays stretched or whatever. So they sew it on, so obviously it's painful, and most people have it for months or whatever. But also, like, I've heard women say like, yes, it is painful, but it also feels like you can't take a deep breath. I know that I can do this because just like through every one of my surgeries, like my body is, if you're going through this situation and if you've already started, you hear people say like, or even if you haven't even started, like you hear people say like your body's so strong, blah blah blah. But it really is just because after every appointment, I hate needles with all my life. Like I literally hate them, and I know that I'm gonna have so many, right? And I just like tell myself like to take it step by step. I hate, like I'm always like breathing so hard as they're like, okay, we're gonna put it in, and I'm like literally clenching everything that they give me, and I'm like breathing so hard, like I'm literally like this the whole time that they're like putting a needle in me. I'm like, like, are you okay? Like, I don't know. Like, I know, just fucking stick it in, and it's not like even get it over with, because like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying, like, I know all of these things are going to happen. I know I'm going to take blood tests. I know I'm going to get an IV, and that is like the worst thing for me. Like, I literally pass out seeing these things. But, like, I don't even know what I was saying. Like, I keep having brain fogs because my brain can only hold so much information, and you get told so much information through all of this whole thing. And then just like the fact that, like, even though I know all of these things are happening, even though I've already had a biopsy at a scary place, even though I've had you know, I've been told that like I will possibly need radiation, losing all my breasts, I probably won't be able to breastfeed my kids, probably, like, I will, you know, like, all of these tests, a mammogram by myself, I've had an MRI by myself, I've had all these things by myself, and it's just crazy, like, how, like, even after that, like, my body's not even, like, it's really ready to turn itself off so I can power through the next thing. If no one asked me about the previous appointment that I just had that was, like, literally hell, and I was, like, crying the whole time, I won't even say anything, and I just, like, will keep it to myself. And it's not to say that, like I'm bottling it all up, because I am crying about it later, but, like, my body, like, my body will go through that, and my brain is taking longer to process it, because my body is just like, what's the next thing? Like, let's get it over with. Like, all of the things that I've gone through, that I've had, like, pain and whatever, like, I just forget about it. I forget about the pain. I forget about, yeah, so it's looking like I'm gonna have a mastectomy. The other breast is looking fine. Definitely gonna lose a nipple. Definitely gonna have a scar across. And, oh, I think my brother's coming in. No, my sister's coming in. Hold on, sorry. I just, like, kind of have hopes that, like, I won't hate my scars. In addition to that, so that was that test result. Basically, they don't know what all those masses were, but just they recommended that I remove it all, whatever. In addition to all of that, as far as reoccurrence and everything, that's something that we still don't know about. I'm still gonna have, like, when I have the surgery, like, they're gonna test the lymph nodes to make sure that I won't, like, that those were not infected. And basically, like, they put, like, a liquid in you to, like, have it go through there, if that makes sense. I don't know. And I know that they put, like, needles on under your arm, but, like, ugh, whatever. Like, I'll just get there when I get there. Okay, so that was that result, which was obviously a pretty large one. I was asking so many questions, and I still have to see the plastic surgeon to see, like, how those things will look, and, like, if it has to be one way or the other, and, you know, mastectomy prep, blah, 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 I don't know what. As far as genetic testing, that's another one. So I also got the feedback on my genetic testing, and that's something that I want to talk about. The feedback on that, so if you don't know what a genetic testing is, that's something that they, you know, you get, sorry, that's part of one of the tests that that thing is so annoying. Like, why right now? Anyway, that's one of the things that you have to kind of, where they recommend that you get, and I got mine, and I actually got the phone call today, and I had to spit in a cup, in a tube, and it's basically to see, like, if this was a mutation, like a random mutation. Okay, sorry, my cat was crying. Genetic testing basically tests to see if this was a random mutation, or if this is something that runs in the family, or if it's somewhere in between. So I got my genetic testing, and it's just like the MRI biopsy results. It was good news, but it was also bad news. Like, this is good and bad news. So I have 2 older sisters and then 1 younger brother, and basically, like, they ask you all of these questions as far as genetic testing goes, like, you know, has anyone in your family had history of, like, cancer, like, any kind, or breast cancer, anything like that. And I only had my dad's grandmother that we are aware of, and that is, like, pretty low. Like, it doesn't seem like it's something that runs in the family. Obviously, things are changing. There are so many more women that are getting cancer at a younger age than ever before, which is so fucking scary. Okay, so that, but because my parents, basically, there's so many boys in our family. Even if breast cancer runs in the family, it's hard to tell because it is being hidden, because it's mostly males. But when I got my results, basically it said that it seems like it was just a mutation on my end, so my sisters don't have to take a genetic test, or my family or whatever, so like probably I wouldn't pass it on to my kids, except there was one mutation, like sorry, one DNA thing, like basically like out of all of my DNA genes, there was one gene or something like that, I don't know what the exact terminology is, that it's unclassified. When it's unclassified, it says that it's like it's not genetic or it can't be passed down, but really like they don't actually know if it can be passed down. Like they don't know, so that's something like to kind of keep in mind. Like they have no idea, so like later down the line, like you might have to tell your family like, hey, you know, maybe you guys should get a genetic test, or like this is positive, has a 50% chance that you might get breast cancer, which would happen with your kids and could also happen with your family. But I want to show you how my cat's looking right now. Let me see if I could show you guys a picture. He's like stuck. So it's like a 50-50 chance. It's like because they don't know. So basically like later down in the line, like they would tell me, but that's like years, which is good, and it's still kind of bad as far as like if I ever want to have kids. Like they really have been asking me so many questions about kids, and it's something that I've never really had to think about as a 24-year-old. So like I don't even know, like I want to do a separate video talking about that if you guys have any questions involving that. Lastly, I just want to kind of touch up on what is DCIS and what does that mean? Is that cancer? So technically, like my doctor said that DCIS is like, it's stage 0 of cancer because the cancer stays within the ducts. It becomes like cancer, invasive cancer, when it bursts from the ducts. DCIS stands for a non-invasive or pre-invasive breast cancer, which means that the cells that line the ducts have changed to cancer cells but haven't spread through the walls of the ducts, as far as we know, right? So that would tell me if I had to get chemo or whatever. The survival rate is like good, like it's very, very good. It's so sad with some other stages, like it's not, like you can't, it's hard. Also, if you guys know about any holistic doctors, like please let me know, or how to find a holistic doctor. DCIS stands for ductal carcinoma in situ, which I'll put on the screen. Apparently I can't read. Yeah, so that is what I have. It is still treated like cancer. Technically it's not cancer, but it is cancer. Like MD Anderson said that they classify it as cancer. It is treated like cancer. I'm still having, like it's not that it's like not, it's still the disease, but I'm still having a mastectomy. I'm probably still having, like just like cancer, I'd probably still have mastectomy, radiation, blah, 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 biopsy, all of these things as far as we know. So that's just kind of like a brief overview on what I have, and very fucking unfortunate. And also it's like there's a high chance of reoccurrence. So we're trying to see if, like, for me, if that would be like, they're gonna take one breast out, but like what about the other? We wouldn't even know until after surgery, which is so freaking frustrating for me. I think I covered everything. That was my cat sneezing. I do think that it's so important to make light of these events and kind of like laugh. Like I know that other people cope with this differently, and I really just like, I am impressed with my body, but also it's just like you have to have a little humor about it. Sometimes it's really, really hard. Like it's really, really hard. The best thing that I've found that has helped me is just like finding like other podcasts and people talking about it. And if you guys want me to link some, just let me know. It really helps to have a community and have someone like understand, because like some of my family members, and maybe I'll touch up on this later, but like some of my family members are just like, be happy and it'll all be fine, like just tell yourself that you'll be healthy and blah blah blah. And like, although I get that way of thinking, like I feel like you have to get there on your own, and they also aren't in your position. Like they don't actually have cancer, like they're not actually gonna lose a breast, and they're not gonna have to suffer through all of these treatments and stuff and have surgery and won't be able to walk and won't be able to shower by yourself, can't use your arm, you're gonna have drain. They won't have that besides you. So it's like, it's really up to you as far as like how you want to lead with this. But there's so many people that like on social media that have led an example for me, and like also like this is just me being so hopeful, and I'm hopeful that you guys will make it through too. I just kind of want to leave it with, if you're going through cancer, or like have a this is your cancer journey, I just kind of want to leave you guys with like a little nugget of something that I heard, like, and I was so like, I was crying about it, because yes, it is important to feel your feelings. Tell yourself that this sucks. And I could say this because I'm going through this with you guys. Like, I'm literally having a mastectomy. Like, I'm literally like going through all these things alone through COVID. Like, I feel like I can say this, but for some people, like, it's actually worse. For some people, they get it at a younger age, they have it more aggressive. For some people, like, there is no turning back, even at like an older age, and there's no turning back. But like, it's so important to be grateful even for like the little things. I was hearing this one podcast, and like the girl was talking about how like you have to be positive, blah blah blah. I mean, it wasn't just like, oh, just be positive. No, it was like an in-depth. It was kind of like a significance to her. She actually had to go through chemo three trials, and basically like the other two didn't work, so she took the final one, and through all of those chemos and whatever, there was this older man that came up to her, and like she didn't have any hair, bald hair, whatever. Like, you can tell, right, that she was going through it. She went to her kids and her family, blah blah blah. They got in the car, and like as she's getting into the car after one of her treatments, like this old man comes up to her. He told her that like cancer looked good on her. She had like this wonderful smile, like she looked amazing. She thanked him, and he told her that I'm not trying to cry, all of the chemotherapy trials that he had been going through were not working. So he was dying, and he still relayed this message unto her, brighten up her day or her life, whatever. He still went out of his way to tell her this. Really important to have perspective and just like gratitude. And I have like amazing family and an amazing body that like, even if my mind is like struggling to get through something, I know that my body is stronger than I could ever know. I don't want to end this on a bad note, and it's actually getting dark already, so I have to wrap this up. Just like, know that you're not alone. Like, I'm here. I'm like literally in pain with you. I'm trying to be strong with you. There are so many amazing women that also are getting cut up trying to like live their life. I know that I will have like a large cut and like no nipple on one side, but I know it'll be temporary, and like maybe this is what like Barbies look like, right? And we still idolize them. So see, like, we have to keep making jokes about it. Thank you so much for just like sticking with me, and if you're new, please subscribe if you want to see more content. If you just feel a connection with me and think it's important that also this message should be spread, let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and I will see you guys so soon.